All right. So, I mean, first of all, I have to say that I'm proud of you for doing this exercise, and I could not read your handwriting. So I
No
have no
one can.
idea
I
what you
slept.
said. I was
I
like,
know.
okay, she sucks at nutrition. That's what I could read on this thing. But otherwise, I struggled. So I'm going to have you take me through each part of the audit and kind of tell me what your responses were with regards to what you did and what you learned, what your like aha moments were, and what you think that you need going forward, because I think that's so much more productive than me saying, okay, Bridget, I saw you said this, so I think we need this, because it's going to be more empowering to you. Number
Right.
one, if the ideas come from you, and that's not like, it's not like smoke and mirrors where I'm like trying to trick you into thinking that, it was my ideas when it's really yours. I want you to realize that you have so much power within you. And even the things that you are reflecting back on that you think maybe weren't the best, just the pure fact that you know what you did, that you can
Right.
acknowledge it, and that you have ideas of what's next. I mean, it's huge. It's absolutely huge. So let's go ahead and make sure you speak loud, because I don't hear that great on the speakers for some reason. Um, but go ahead and tell me.
So
Um,
as far as the nutrition audit,
Start with the fitness.
okay, so the fitness was the back page. So the fitness was that I did a few of your program. Because I'm on the app, I can go back and forth.
Mhm.
So I hate abs, so I do the Fit and Furious or Fit and Fast.
Fitness.
Yeah. So I do those. I do the arms most of the time, and I do some of the legs, but I only do the legs once because my legs ache, my knees, for the rest of the week. So I'm always doing like the arms, the chest, the back, the shoulders. I just leave out the abs and the lower body. And I
Mhm.
always feel like, well, I spin twice a week just because I love to spin.
Yep.
I pretty much
That's good for
walk.
your lower body.
Yeah. I pretty much walk every day, at least 30 to 40 minutes, whether it's sometimes fast, sometimes slow. I get it in there. So, and I
So
just,
tell me more about this whole, like, I don't like abs thing, because usually everybody's favorite part is just
I,
killer abs.
I hate it. So my bladder is really bad. So
Mhm.
laying down on the floor or any kind of pushing, like if you did a whole video of standing abs, I'd be fine. But
Okay.
when I get down onto the floor, it's just a pee party. So I
Mhm.
hate it.
Yep, I know that feeling. We're moms, so it makes sense. But sometimes it's the things that we dread the most or that we struggle with the most. It's a cue as to what we need the most.
Yeah.
And certainly as we age, muscles relax themselves, and we don't want incontinent Bridget down the
Right.
line. So I want you to just keep in mind, I'm not saying like you have to do the abs or extra abs or bonus abs, but if we can, like you just identified, abs that you would do, and we might need to go more into pelvic floor exercises, which I do
Mhm.
have those videos as well for pelvic
Okay.
floor, which I think would be beneficial. So if we said, like, instead of that, let's learn a bunch of pelvic floor moves. And like today, when I was doing a bar workout, and at the end she went to the floor and started doing abs, I started doing breathing exercises because I'm not cleared to do abs right now,
Right.
but I made sure I was doing something that engaged abs. I just turned the volume down. But I think that it would be important for you to start learning pelvic
Right.
floor exercises that will help that, so that we can be productively working on it, so it's not an issue going forward.
Right.
Same thing with leg stuff, and if your knees, is it your knees that are aching?
Yeah. It throws my knees for days. They're just achy. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to do anymore because I don't want them to hurt anymore. But you know what? It's not the move. It's me. I'm like, I'm strong enough. I should be increasing my weight and I should be doing this. And so I'll just do it because I'm like, well, it's only 3 minutes or it's only 60 seconds. And then I dread it. And I'm like, okay, next time I'm just gonna do it. But my brain doesn't register with my mind. Like,
Yeah.
my mind says two things. You can do it and you can't do it. And I go with the you can. So then
It's
it's
good.
really
It's good. You're going
self-injury.
with your gut, right?
Right.
So we just need to make sure that we are, number one, balanced in the leg work you're doing, giving yourself
Mhm.
enough recovery time between workouts, but also fighting inflammation in other ways, working on stability, mobility, and balance. Because
Mhm.
if these things are out of whack too, then no matter how much you do, it's kind of like when people do an exercise, they do it the wrong way, they do it a ton. It's like, well,
Right.
great, you're like making your problem worse. And so we need to make sure, especially like when you're on your bike, that your bike settings are proper, right? That your knees are not going past your toes and putting
Right.
more, pressure on them. We want to make sure your form is good, but it does benefit you to continue to do leg work
Right. And
because it's going to only improve that. I always think it's funny when people say, "Oh, I don't do that because I have bad knees." It's like, well, do we want to get over that bad knees thing or do we want to stay the same? And so we just need to do things that are going to work better for you. So I also have seated leg routines, and
mhm.
so that's where when I have like one-on-one clients, saying my shoulder's been off or my knees are off or my hips or whatever, then
Right.
we modify the programs. And that's a big difference between having a DIY, little program and having something where it's the one-on-one stuff. But it's good that you're pinpointing those things. So what have you seen in terms of positives from doing the
Oh, I
workouts?
love the workouts. I love the HIIT, that 60-minute HIIT that we did for Thanksgiving Day.
Mhm.
Oh, I love that. I do that once a week. Um, I'm strong. I can lift some weight.
Mhm.
I'm getting better and heavier and heavier weights. But, when I get to leg day, I'm like done.
Okay.
But I do it. I do it once a week.
Yeah.
It's really, my exercise is not even the main my problem is my diet.
Okay. Let's
And
move on then.
right. So the exercise, I really, the one thing for exercise is I'm not truly sold on the process. I am an overachiever when it comes to exercise. Like, I have an Apple Watch. I set it to 60 minutes of exercise. If I don't get 60 minutes a day, then it's like I didn't exercise. I didn't complete my task. On a rest day, I'm not a good rester. So my rest day would include maybe a spin or maybe a 5-mile walk, or, there's no days that I just, there are days, but it's after 13 days of straight exercise that I'm like spent and I can't work out. So I don't trust the process. So that's one thing I'm going to work on this year, is trusting the process, giving my body rest days that are true rest days and not half rest days.
That's smart. And when it comes to like my programs and what you can see in this audit, even, it's mindset and it's education. And that is something that I've had plenty of clients who came into my program and I said, "Oh, so what do you do now?" And it's like 3 hours of workouts a day. And I'm like, whoa, I know what's going to help you. We're going to pull that back. And you know that every time you do my cleanse, I always say, you got to pull back on the exercise because it's not going to work. Like, you're going to whine at me at the end of the week if you only lost 1 or 2 pounds because you overdid it on exercise and didn't let your body relax and de-stress and let your nervous system calm down. But you also have to recognize that recovery is an incredibly important part of this process. And if you never let your body recover, that's the actual rebuilding, the strengthening. Everything else is the breakdown. And so you have to really understand the good that that rest is doing for your body. So I think that
Right.
you're very smart to self-identify that that's part of it. And again, that doesn't fall into the fitness realm. This falls into mindset, education, and understanding how the process works, which most people don't understand unless they're educated in it and taught about it and constantly coached on it, right? Because we
Right.
go back to these ingrained thoughts of, I'm not doing enough. That's probably why I'm not getting results. And it's really something else. And so did you watch my videos on the the 3 mistakes that women make?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's like
I'm
light
right
bulb
there.
moments, right? It's like, oh
Right.
crap, I'm doing the opposite of what I was supposed to do?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay,
And
so tell me
I
about
went back over,
nutrition.
the menopause and the
Mhm.
menopause videos and stuff like that. I'm right there. I don't sleep well. I over exercise. I even under eat some days. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I had a bad day yesterday, I'm gonna watch today.
Yeah, you are the
So
typical
yeah,
typical client of mine
right,
who's doing all the wrong things, kind of knows it, but you're just learning now
right,
that you're doing so many great things, but you have to be excited. And I always get really excited. You've got room to grow,
right. Oh, I
So
feel
this
that. I
year's gonna
definitely
be
am.
better.
Right. I'm definitely gonna be better this year.
So tell me about nutrition, the good, the
So
bad, the ugly, and where you need to
okay.
go.
So the good, the bad, the ugly. I'm a great water drinker. Great
Mhm.
water drinker. I'm a great repetitious eater. So if you gave me a diet for 5 days, I could eat that for 5 days, everything exactly the same from beginning to end without a problem. And then Friday hits. No, it's Saturday hits. And Saturday and Sunday, it is a party from beginning to end. And it's not always a bad party. It's just a different party.
Mhm.
And then it's a start over again on Monday.
Mhm.
I have more alcohol than I should some weekends, occasional weekends, but more in excess, which then throws the whole thing. So I know you start the next day and all that, but it just kind of, it wears on you. It just is like, oh, I was
Yeah.
so good, and then I just blew it, and then let me just forget it. I used to meal prep. I don't do that anymore, just because I'm lazy. I got lazy, but also because I was meal prepping from this is what I'm going to make today, tomorrow, the next day, next day. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't know why I got away from the meal prep actually,
And
but I
so did you follow any of the frameworks that you know, or do you feel like you were just kind of like doing your thing, just doing
doing my
whatever?
thing. I didn't follow
Okay.
framework. I'm not a good follower of frameworks
Mhm.
for the most part. Like I know what I'm supposed to eat at each meal.
Mhm.
And like I said, Monday through Friday, I'm right there. except if I'm home, sometimes I mindlessly eat at nighttime. But if I was regimented and set my mind, like, today was the day. Yesterday I started like really clean eating, like doing my stuff, eating what I should be eating, and I'm okay. But as soon as that, it's not set in stone. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm not writing it down. Although today I did write it down, but I left it at work. Just to see where I'm at. Like I'm thinking maybe I should watch the protein more. Maybe I should, be more self-conscious of my water. Even though I drink a lot of water, maybe I'm not drinking as much as I think I am.
I think sometimes that's a big thing is we think we're doing one thing, but we're really doing something else.
Right.
And that's like me. I always said I was a healthy eater, but when I looked at it, when I learned a framework and I put what I was eating into that framework, I was like, oh my God, like I was off. Like I didn't, I had no idea how off I was until I started tracking. So I want to ask you a question. Are you in maintenance mode, weight loss mode, or the mode of trading fat for muscle?
I want to be in weight loss mode because I'm way heavier than I should be.
Okay. So then you have to act like you're in weight loss mode, which means you have to learn what creates weight loss, right? And so I think you're realizing that I'm not actually at maintenance. So I can't act like I'm at maintenance where I can kind of like have a really great week, indulge a little bit on the weekend, have a great week and indulge a little bit. Maybe once you get to that maintenance level and it's like going up a pound or two over the weekend and then coming right back down on a Monday, it's generally going to be because of salt and a little bit of alcohol or water retention, then you can be there. But at that point, you have to also know what is it exactly that gets me back to exactly where I want to be. So that's going to require some kind of framework, whether your framework can be either a system or it can just be every Friday I make my meal plan. And I know that it's a meal plan that works because it fits some framework, right?
Are you seeing me? I'm sorry, my Zoom just went out.
Totally fine. I see you, hear you. And we need to know what works, right? So we need to know the plan, we need to track the plan, and then we need to review. So I always say learn, do, review. And that way we're going to know what's going to happen. And for me, it's learn a system, work with it until it stops working or until you get bored or until you want to shoot yourself in the head because you're sick of it. And then you have another one, another framework to move to. And that's what I teach 4 frameworks and my 5-day kickstart for when you just need a total reset. And so that way you always have something to go to that you know how it works and that you can have that in your pocket for security, for safety, for results. And then once you know what it takes to get to your goal and then maintain it, then it's like you can take a little more liberty, but you're also at that point, once you've learned multiple frameworks and you've practiced them, you are definitely going to just become that new person who follows the rules, who is more instinctively and intuitively going to be in that zone for the majority of the time.
Yeah, that's who I want to be.
Yeah. So we need to just get a little bit more structured in that. And so that comes to the next part. Is the next section accountability?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. Tell me about what you wrote down.
I have not done any of this. No accountability. I need to write down my goals in order to get where I need to be. So I don't know what my end goal is. What I know my goal is today and until I lose at least 20 pounds is just to stay focused and get this weight off. I'm uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable in my skin. I'm uncomfortable in my clothes. I'm uncomfortable with my husband. It's the weirdest thing.
So you have to be comfortable for you. And that's what we, and that's what we struggle with. And that's why we do need a strategy, a plan of action and accountability to get us there. But it's really great that you have these, this image of specific goal, 20 pounds. If I lose 20 pounds, I'm going to feel more comfortable in my clothes. I'm going to feel more comfortable with my husband. And that's probably going to improve your relationship because intimacy is a huge part of that connection, right? So it's actually a very clear goal, which is hugely important because if you leave your house and you have no idea where you're going and you hop in your car, where are you going to go? You're going to wander around and get nowhere and waste a bunch of time. And that's, I think, what you might feel like you've been doing is just wasting time without a really clear goal. And that, but you said like a minute ago, I don't even have a goal or I don't know what my goal is, but then you very eloquently told me what your goals are.
Well, I don't have an end goal. You know what I mean? I have stepped goals. If I get to here, then my goal will be to improve. Like once I get to the 20 pounds, then my goal will be just to build muscle, get stronger. Like I've thought about it. Where am I at? And those are the things I would be there. And then once I got to build muscle and that I would want to be maintaining. Do you know?
Tell me about the muscle goal, right? You told me exactly what losing weight would do for you. What will building muscle and getting stronger do for you?
It would just make me feel like what I'm doing is what I should be doing, where I want to be.
No, that's not it.
No.
Start over. Okay. So you said, I want to lose 20 pounds because when I lose 20 pounds, I'll feel more comfortable in my clothes and my skin and being intimate with my husband, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I gain muscle and get stronger, that will impact my life how? What happens if you're stronger and you have muscle?
I'll feel more confident in myself.
Because why? What does that muscle do?
It made me reach my goal. Like I lost the fat, but it doesn't matter if you lose the fat if you're not muscular and toned.
Okay, so so the losing 20 pounds isn't the real goal. It's really being tight and toned.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
So the thing is you might lose 20 pounds. You might gain 20 pounds back in muscle. You might exchange. And this is why I said, is your goal weight loss or is it exchanging fat for muscle? Because that could be an even exchange of weight. Right. Mm-hmm. If you lose, think about 20 pounds of bulky muscle. And I was talking to my father-in-law about this the other day. Like when somebody says, muscle weighs more than fat. No, it doesn't. A pound is a pound is a pound. Uh-huh. But if you think about 20 pounds of really bulky fat, it's big. Right. And then you think about 20 pounds of muscle, it's tight and toned and strong and lean. That's really what we want. So you might end up only 10 pounds less, or you might end up 10 pounds more. Who knows? That's not the real goal. The real goal is what that's going to make you feel. And I think that that's where the confidence is going to come from. And I'll tell you, when I started this journey, and I don't think you came into my life that far after that, but I started at 150 pounds. I thought my goal was 10. I got to 140 in 2 weeks. And I was like, oh crap, that wasn't my goal. And so I brought it down another 5 because all I knew was weight loss and weight gain. I didn't know much more than that. But when I got to 135 and I lost 6 dress sizes, I didn't feel like I was there. And I was like, well, wait a second, this isn't really what I wanted. And that's when I started bodybuilding and I gained 10 pounds back. And now I'm even 10 pounds over that. Right. And so I realized that it is that exchange of fat for muscle that is going to make me feel super confident, super strong, energized. I can eat more, which is what I enjoy. I can drink a little more without that elasticity of the scale going up and down, which can be a mind game, right? And so that's what I find with most of my clients is we're not really looking for weight loss. We're looking for fat loss and muscle building. And not only that, but at our stage of life, that becomes so much more important for things that you're talking about, which is, sleeping well. And when we start to have bone loss and our muscles start to break down, we need to make sure that we're building them back up and that our body has that ability to fight stress. And so this is super, super important. And so I think we're identifying where we need to get to. So you've said that in that we kind of skipped down to goals, but you don't have a system right now for the accountability. You've been doing some things more in fitness, less in nutrition. You're starting to buy into the process with me constantly pounding these messages into your head. We might need to up that accountability a little bit. Okay. You have a clear thought on your goals now, which we kind of took what you thought and then we've refined it a tiny bit. Okay. And then tell me about, there's 2 more. There's the time management and there's the mindset and motivation. Tell me a little bit about those.
So for my time management, I need to implement a night routine. So my trouble times are, of course, 7 to 10 or 7 to when I go to bed. I'm a picker. I'm a binger. I like to touch and eat and I'm not even hungry. It's just that I'm sitting in front of the TV or I'm reading a book or I'm bored. And so I just tend to eat. So what I normally do is I don't buy the stuff that I like. I just don't have it in the house. But then when the kids come home and this, that, and the other thing, I tend to have it in the house. And that's when my routine goes off. And I tend to, it's just a cup. It's just this. It's just this. But every cup every day is adding up. So I need to implement that. And I have some idea. Like I said, the kids go back to school and I don't have the shit in the house. So it's a little bit easier then, but it's winter. And so people love filling foods and stuff like that. So I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what.
So night routine, tell me more about why you feel like, is that just to stop the eating, the picking, the night snacking?
Yeah, because everything else is pretty much, I have an order of things that I do. And then like once I stop, when everything's done, dishes, wash, whatever, and I sit down to relax, to watch TV, to kind of get into that mode to go to bed, hey, there's some Cheerios in there, or,
Yeah,
So-
I totally get that. Okay. And then the last section, what did you write in the mindset motivation?
Just that I need to trust the process. I just need to slow down because out of all of the people I know, and I have 4 really close friends that we worked out as a group together when we were younger, 12 years ago. And then our life happened and, we've been back and forth. We walk every couple of weeks together, chit chat. And you know, our lives have gone separate ways. But I mean, I work out way more than any of them. And here I am, still heavier than I was when we started. And it just is like, I'm beating my body up because I'm watching you and I'm listening to all this stuff, but I'm still not trusting. I'm still not, I don't know. I think if I work 3 hours, maybe then it'll come off.
Yeah.
So I'm just like at the point where maybe I do have to trust the process, because what I'm doing now isn't working. So, and I'm finally at the mindset that, okay, what's it going to hurt if I trust the process for next year?
Yeah.
It's a year. So what's the difference?
Yeah. All you can do is try and see where it takes you and take note of the new things. So you're going to try some things that you missed and you're going
Right.
to switch some things up. And a big part of it is going to be looking at the year and looking at it month by month and, you know, and even week by week and saying, okay, what's my plan, my strategy? And then I think the big thing is going to be that accountability to it and that constant reminder of what works and what doesn't. If you need to go back and watch my 3 roadblocks to success that women over 40 are struggling with, if you got to watch it once a week to remind yourself of what's happening, then you're going to have to do that. And we're going to have to really look at that schedule and make sure that it's balanced. And we talked about all these things that have been missing and we really need to implement them. So if you had a friend, Bridget, and she kind of told you all these things that she was doing, if she basically read your sheet and reflected on what you're doing, but it was a friend, I think you would be able to give her these tips because I think you know a lot of this stuff and you would probably tell her things differently than what you're doing, right?
Oh,
it's kind of like,
definitely.
don't do what I do what I say. And I think that's a huge reason as to why I've had success is because I don't feel that I'd be living in my integrity if I wasn't doing what I'm teaching, you know? And I think that that's why I know that these things work. And so it's super important that you recognize that you absolutely know. And I bet you could take one of your best friends and take her through the process and have her go right along with you. And I don't think you'd feel right if you said, okay, we're going to do fit and fast for the next 30 days. And let's take our measurements at the beginning and let's make sure we have our meal plan set every week. And let's make sure that, you know, we stay accountable to each other. At the end of that month, I don't think you would feel right if you knew that you hopped on your bike after every session and did extra work. And I think it'd be interesting, you know, to know that you really didn't need it and your friend gets just as great results or even better for doing it, you know, and like you said, trusting the process. So that's huge. So I appreciate you for being vulnerable, for going through this process of taking the time and looking at these things, because I do think that looking back and auditing is really the only way to move forward. Otherwise, you'd probably be repeating everything that you did in the past year again, and just kind of frustrated. And I think the more time that goes on, like we look at ourselves and we're like, why am I dealing with this now? You know, I'm old enough. I should have figured it out already. And so I think that this is really, really great. So I commend you for that. So thank you.
It's really you, because you're like, okay, so you're going to listen to the thing and then you're going to say, well, let me just try this one more time this year. And then next year it'll be the whole year. I'm still exactly where I am. So I really don't want to be exactly where I am. I want to figure it out. I think I should be able to figure it out at this point in my life. I'm 53 years old.
Yeah.
Not like I'm like an idiot, a child. I do stuff, you know, I'm like there. I'm just lacking in some.
Just need a little refining, refining. So that's what we'll do now. Okay.